team in North America, and the reason I share this with you is because some of you may have tried other direct selling network marketing before and may or may not have had success. And one of the reasons that people on our team do have more success is because we have a lot of people, so there's 4 of us on here who earned top 25 growth in North America last year. So we know how to build a business, and we're gonna tell you. You know, there's no secrets here. We're gonna tell you what you need to do to build a business. And if you're open and you're willing to learn, we'll work with you. And we'll work with you till you achieve your goal. That's the really neat thing about what we do. So just to finish this part of the presentation off, I just want to ask you to just tell the person who invited you here tonight where you stand, okay? Just let them know. There's lots of information. You've got a package in your hand that tells you about the products. If you choose, you can order the products right away. You can look at them, find out information. And number 3 is the business model. That's not really what I'm interested in. It doesn't make sense for me right now. But you know what? You've got me on the health thing. So I would be interested in trying some of the products. The great thing is we have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try the products, and if it doesn't work out, it's not a big deal. You know, it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes, you know, people return. That's okay. But you can try it risk-free, so you feel comfortable about that. And that would be fill out the form that you have with the products. Number 2 is, okay, you kind of caught my attention on this business thing. I have a lot of questions though, because this was kind of a brief presentation. I don't really understand how it all works, but I'd be interested in learning more. So there's a few of us in the room who do the business, so feel free to ask us questions during the break. And then if we need to give you more information to take, or we need to send you an email link, we could do that as well. I should also mention, if you're 3 and you want to do that true health assessment, let the person know as well, and they'll send you the link on how to do that. Number 1 is ready to get started. So I've looked at the business, maybe I kind of have some knowledge, maybe I'm a customer and I didn't really know about the business part, I didn't know how that worked, and you're ready to get started. Please just ask the person who invited you here tonight how that works. We've got some packages, some incentives that are happening right now because of this event. It's a big event, so we were able to get some really cool incentives. So I just want you to ask yourself, what makes sense for me? And I invite you to grab some information, come and look at our samples, and I'm more than happy to answer your questions. And we're going to rejoin. There's if you need a bio break, just down the hall. We're going to get back here in about 10 minutes. She's going to tell us her story, and I'm excited to learn because I found out recently I'm gluten intolerant. So really excited to have Jess share with us, so thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. So my journey with USANA has been great. I had like the healthiest immune system from here to Tokyo, and all of a sudden I was diagnosed with 3 different autoimmune diseases. And we were like, what the heck? Like, I don't get the cold that the next person gets or the flu that all the neighbors get. Like, I had such a strong immune system, and here things were going wrong with my body that really didn't make a lot of sense. And as we investigated into it and actually traveled around North America to find out what on earth was happening, we found out that I had celiac disease, and had probably for about 11 years had celiac disease and didn't know it. So this whole time ingesting gluten and wreaking havoc in my body, which led down a dirty road of autoimmune diseases. So that started my adventure in finding out how to live a glorious gluten-free life. How to make a very dull gluten-free life glorious is more like what the adventure has been. If you've ever tried gluten-free food, you may know what I'm talking about. So as I was preparing, not for today, but when I first started speaking on this topic, I remember running it past Mark, my husband, sitting out here, and got to the end of it, and I was like, so what'd you think? And there's like this long pause. And he's a pretty excitable guy. Long pause, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. And I'm like, so? He's like, if I didn't know you, I kind of think you're a total Debbie Downer. Oh. So the nice news is he saved you from having like the next half an hour be a mix of like biology, chemistry, physiology, and anatomy lesson. So thank you, Mark, for that. We will keep it a little bit lighter. So what I want you to hear in these next few minutes of what I'm going to tell you, I am going to tell you about your guts. I am going to tell you about what could happen with gluten if you shouldn't have it, things like that. What I want you to hear is a hopeful story, because I'm not here to tell you, oh, there's a problem. I'm here to tell you if there's a problem, there's a solution. So that's what I want you to hear in everything I'm about to tell you. Can we agree on that? Yep. You gonna hear that? Yep. Not Debbie Downer. I am not a Debbie Downer.
No. She's really not.
There's a
seat in here if you want.
Oh, there is one. All right, he's in. Perfect. So I launched a new business just last year called the Gluten-Free Adventure. I found that online, and there are resources everywhere where you can find recipes, you can find gluten-free products. It is becoming so much more mainstream that that stuff is easy to get your hands on now. What I couldn't find anywhere was the how-to. How do you create a gluten-free life? How do you set up your kitchen so that there is no gluten in there? How do you put your makeup on in the morning and not get glutened? How do you send your kids to school or to a birthday party and have them be safely gluten-free? The how-to is missing, and so that's what I created. So all of the information I'm about to give you, you can find on my website, totally free. It's theglutenfreeadventure.com. If you want a card, I can toss this to you after. So don't worry about like taking notes. I will just spew a whole bunch of information at you, and when you forget 97% of it, you can go and read it later. Cool?
Yeah.
Cool. So there are some important things to cover when it comes to gluten. First of all, what on earth is gluten? It's a protein. It's found in wheat, barley, rye, inherently. And it's the binding agent. So if you've ever seen someone that tossed a pizza in the air and then catch it, thanks gluten. You kept that pizza together. It is the binding agent that holds things together. So muffins, any kind of baking bread. Has anyone had gluten-free bread? Kind of missing that binding agent, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You gotta toast it.
Heavy. Yes, you got to toast it.
Gotta toast it. So it holds things together. That's one of its main jobs. Now, wheat, barley, rye, really easy to avoid. You can go into the grocery store and you can be like, there's the bread, I'm gonna find an alternative. There's the pasta, I'm gonna find an alternative. You know, there's the baking, I'm gonna find an alternative. It would be so great if it ended there. It doesn't. Sadly, that's the really easy part. Gluten is also found in super sneaky places. So anytime you see on an ingredient list color, flavor, spices, seasoning, or a modified food ingredient, they may contain gluten. It will never say, well, hopefully one day it will. Right now, you will never find something that lists gluten as an ingredient. So it's a really ambiguous thing that is very, very hard to find and hard to detect in a product. So we spend, actually Mark is, I call him our research and development division of our family, because he talks to every company. So it used to be me doing that. We have now handed that part off to Mark. He is an expert on calling companies, looking them up, finding out, like, can we get this product? I'll be at the grocery store and call him or text him at work and be like, okay, I'd really like to buy this. I'd like to make this for dinner. Can you check it out? And he will go to work and actually get a hold of the company and find out, how is this made? What else is made in your facility? Could there be cross-contamination? Is this safe for my family? So as it turns out, our son, who is now 5, is also celiac. So that heightened our awareness. It heightened how we do things in our house. Our whole house is actually gluten-free. We don't allow any gluten to come into our house. Even our friends, when kids come over, the first thing they do is wash their hands so that they're not bringing any gluten into our house to make us sick. So what is gluten? Do we have it?
Yep.
It's this really ambiguous thing that could be found anywhere.
Great.
Right? Clear. Perfect. Okay, so why would you avoid gluten? Why would someone avoid gluten? Well, there are 3 reasons why you would want to avoid it. One is if you have celiac disease. Another is if you are gluten sensitive or gluten intolerant, as Julie was talking about. And the third reason is if you have a wheat sensitivity or a wheat intolerance or a wheat belly. Has anyone heard of the book?
Oh yeah.
Wheat belly? I like that he also says, you could call it wheat belly, you could call it biscuit bum, you could call it bagel face, any of the above. So we're going to go through those things. Number 1, celiac disease. What is that? It's a genetic disease that essentially makes your body read gluten as poison. So A, you have to have the gene in order to have the disease. If you have the gene, it doesn't necessarily mean you have the disease. It has to be switched on somehow. Once it's switched on, you have it. So to give you an example, I have obviously the gene and the disease. My older sister has the gene, but does not have the disease. Is this making sense? Mm-hmm. She has so lovingly passed it on to all of her kids, but she does not. But she does not have the disease herself. So that's how it works. Now this is what happens. If I were to ingest a molecule of gluten, not a loaf of bread, like a crumb that got into my wine glass by accident from a loaf of bread, let's say, and that goes into my system, into my digestive system, when it gets to my small intestine, this is what happens. Our small intestine, let's picture like a shag rug. Anyone have a shag rug? Yeah, I do. So your small intestine is like a shag rug. Off on a tangent. Anyone follow me? Okay, so shag rug. All those fibers in your shag rug